Welcome, guys. We are on another edition of Relationship, Marriage, and Family Counseling. With me, your regular host, Njoya Cham, a relationship, marriage, and family counselor. In this edition, we are going to be looking on why a woman is expected to submit to a man and the differences between submission and obedience from a woman to a man. Let's ride on. We start with why a woman is expected to submit to a man. First, you as a woman will have to understand that the first right of choice to a husband belongs to you. That is to say, a man can love you as a woman, but moves to you, the choice is yours to accept or not. And if you should accept, if you must accept, then the choice to make him your husband so depends on you. That is why you must submit to him as a woman. You have the right to choose who to submit to. God did not say, woman, submit to men, or go and submit to all men. Listen very well, ladies. All men are not your head. All men are not your head. If as a woman, any man you find around you is your head, you submit to. Any man you find around you, you consider to be your head, there is something wrong with your future. There is something wrong with your destiny as a woman. As a woman, not all men are your head. Your husband is your head. Your husband is your head. Reason why your husband is your head is because nobody forced you to marry him. You did not get married to him at a gunpoint. Your husband is your head because you personally chose him over other men. So, madam, ladies, submit to that man. Submit to him. It is not a man-made law. It is scriptural. Wife, submit to your husband. It is scriptural. Wife, submit to your husband. It is in no record in the Bible that wives submit or wife submit to your pastor. It is in no record in the Bible that wife submit to men. It is in no record in the Bible that wife submit to any man that comes your way. It is in no record in the Bible that wife submit to prophets, pastors, evangelists, and so on. It is in no record that submit to clergymen. No, but it is of high record in the Bible that wife submit to your husband. How then, as a woman, you submit to a man of God, you submit to the ministers of the gospel, and you can't submit to your husband, and you think you are so heavenly conscious? You missed heaven already. You just bypassed heaven by submitting to your man of God and not submitting to your husband. You bypassed heaven on the way. You bypassed heaven on the way. And to some of these women that choose to respect other people instead of their husband, you think that if you submit to your man of God and you respect your husband, you are making heaven. You bypass heaven on the highway, my sister. You bypass heaven on the highway by submitting to your man of God and choose to respect your husband. Respect your man of God and submit to your husband. The Bible says, for this reason shall a man leave his mother and father and cleave unto a woman, Meaning a woman, you submit to this man for eternity. It doesn't say a woman will leave the mother and father and cleave unto the men of God. No. For submission, no. It doesn't say like that. There is nothing like that in the Bible's record. He said the husband is the head. Not the prophet, not the pastor, not the apostle. Not at all. But the husband is the head of the wife. How dare you as a woman submit to the apostle, the prophet, the evangelist without submitting to your husband? And you think you are so heavenly conscious. No, you are not heavenly conscious, for Christ's sake. And this takes me to my next point, the differences between obedience and submission. Let me shock us today that there is a very big difference between obedience and submission. Most women obey and they don't submit. Listen today, ladies. Listen today. Submission shows the power of a husband over you, the wife. Submission shows the power of a husband over you, the wife. Obedience doesn't, but submission does. To know the power of a husband over the wife is through submission, not through obedience. Know that today, ladies, in case you go about telling people how you are submitting to your husband. Know today that you have been obeying your husband. You have not been submitting to your husband. Let me give a clerical example. You are a well-to-do woman. You can afford anything for yourself, but you wake up one morning, you walk to your husband, you say, "Darling, I want to purchase a car. I don't mind if you don't have the necessary fund to support me with. I can purchase the car myself." And your husband look at the idea and tell you, "I don't think the car purchase for now is necessary. I think you should hold on. Retrieve the footsteps." And as a submitting woman, you retrieved your footsteps from purchasing the car. Now you are not retrieving the footsteps because you are giving some time for your husband to generate the fund for the purchase of the car, but because your husband is not seeing the necessity for you to purchase that car that moment. That is submission. You have submitted under the authority of the man because you have the choice to purchase the car. You have the means. You have the choice, but you choose to go under his authority, not purchasing the car that moment. That is what they call submission. On the contrary, you wake up one morning, you go to your husband and you say, "Babe, I want you to purchase me a car." And your husband tells you, "Oh, I don't have the necessary fund to purchase you a car now. So it's a big no for me now." You say, "Okay, no problem." You retrieve your footsteps. You retrieving your footsteps because your husband just voice it out that there are no necessary funds for the purchase of the car is no submission. You merely obeyed because you had no choice. He's not having the fund to buy the car. You can't force him, so you have no choice than to obey his word. That is no submission. A lot of women, they obey when their husband speaks and they think that they are submitting to the man. They don't submit. A lot of them don't submit. A lot of them don't submit. It's not because you have your transport fare to leave one city to another and your husband tell you, "Don't go on this trip." Because you have the necessary fund to fund yourself on that trip, you tell your husband, "Don't bother, I will be the one to fund my movement. So it's okay. In case you think that I may ask transport from you, don't bother, I can handle myself." And when you go, you come back, you look your husband in the eye and you ask him, "Don't I submit to you?" My sister, you don't submit to that man. You don't. In the name of God, you don't submit. In the name of God, that's rebellion. You just rebelled against that man. He asked you not to do something, you went ahead and you did it. That's rebellion. and you think you are so heavenly conscious. Even if your man of God tell you do this and your husband say, I don't feel, my spirit doesn't permit me, you do that, you have the full right to submit to the authority of your husband that is telling you not to do it, and not the authority of your man of God that is telling you do it against your husband. In case you are that kind of a woman, that because of your connection, you have people that can support you in one way or the other in any endeavor that you might want to take, and you choose not to go under the submission of your husband, my sister, you missed it in life. And do not blame God that your marriage is not working well. Do not blame God, because you yourself, you have failed the Bible with submission. It's not because your brother or your father or your relatives, they promise you they're going to give you capital for business, a business idea that you have not even discussed with your husband, but you have discussed with your relatives, people that are going to give you financial aids. And because your husband tells you, this business, I don't think it's necessary for you to operate this business now, or this type of business. Let's look another business that you can engage in, and not this particular one. But because you have people that are ready to fund that particular business of yours, you choose to ignore the voice of your husband, and you think you are submitting to that man. You are not submitting to that man, my sister. You are rebelling against that man. You are rebelling against that man. Wife, submit to your husband. It is high time for women, for ladies, to get a good interpretation of submission. We all understand the marketing system of churches nowadays, the doctrines we have. But I want to shock us today that even those we look up to as men of God, as prophets, as pastors, they can never allow their wives to submit to another man outside. Even if it's their own spiritual father, their wife can only respect their spiritual father, but will never submit to their spiritual father. There is a power in submission. There is a power in submission. And as a married man, if your wife is not submitting to you, there is no doubt the wife is submitting to a man outside. Because the fact remains, a woman must submit. A woman must submit. So if you discover as a man that your wife, your woman is not submitting to you, my brother, that woman is submitting to another man outside. There are no two ways. That is the certainty. If you can't control a woman, another man will control the woman. There are not two ways. If you can't control a woman, another man will. It is not, you don't stay and wait for manna from heaven to come and tell you what to do. No. It's visible. You can see with your eyes. So a lot of men are going through hell in the hands of their wives. A lot of men are going through a lot in the hands of their wives. And when they step out as women to do their women empowerment, you will see them bring an atmosphere of submission to their husbands and all the like. In real sense, they are not. In real sense, they are not. So women, let's change the arena. Let's change the arena. Let's be submissive. Do you want to be virtuous? You must submit. To be virtuous, you must submit. In case you think you can attend virtuous conferences, virtuous seminars, and you come back and you are virtuous, And by virtue of you attending those virtuous conferences, you went against your husband for submission to come back as virtuous woman. You failed. You failed. You are no virtuous woman. You are no virtuous woman. Submit to a man. You are a helper. Submit to him. Now, when you submit to a man, there are things too that a man will voice it out to you, and as a helpmate, you sense it in the spirit, and you see that no, this is not coming from the godly perspective. You talk to your husband now as a God-fearing woman. Talking to him now, you are making it in a prayerful way and in a respectful way. You see? So when we talk about submitting, it's not that you submit to all rubbish that a man too might tell you. No. We understand they are toxic men. It's not for you to submit to everything, no. But that which is godly inclined. My sister, even if you are prophet, you are pastor, you are whoever tells you what, submit to that man, because that man is the spiritual head of your home. Your pastor can never be the spiritual head of your home. It is your husband. So in case you think that you are respecting spirituality in church, you are failing spirituality at home. You are failing spirituality at home. Thank you very much. Our next edition is coming up. Make sure you stay tuned and don't forget to follow.